What do we have here today, Jeff?
We have a Glock 42. Of course.
Baby Glock.
Yeah. Well, actually, people call the 26 and 27 baby Glocks. So.
Well, it's a new baby.
It's the infant Glock.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. But with this new trend and everybody wanting smaller, carryable guns, things they can have with them anywhere, versus maybe something that maybe shows, prints out, or whatever. These are much smaller than what's offered currently or previously by Glock. So, the Glock 26, 27, so on in that realm was a much thicker.
Now, was this available in other countries before it was available here?
No, because the Glock had a 380, but it was in the same frame as the 26.
Oh, okay.
So this was created for the American market. As a matter of fact, this particular gun is made here in the United States, in Georgia. The Glock 42s and 43s, for the most part, are made here. Versus, you'll see a lot of the other models and so on that were generated overseas first. But the demand for this gun here in the United States is so high that, of course, Glock brought the 42 out first in 380 and then brought out the much anticipated 43, which I think people wanted first to begin with.
No, I would have much rather had a 43 before 42, but
yes,
a lot of people are into the 380 sub, the pocket pistol.
Pocket pistols, things like that, so on and so forth. So when I see a gun like this here and I look at other manufacturers, I have to look at Glock as a latecomer in this whole realm. When I look at the Glock 42 compared to the 43, I actually prefer the 42 over the 43. We don't have a 43 here to compare them to, but it seems so odd that Glock would have such a difference between the two guns, but they do. The ergonomics of this gun in this size just fits really, really well. I mean, it looks big because it looks like all the other Glock designs, but in your hand, it's not a really, really big gun. But the ergonomics aren't too bad. It kind of reminds me a little bit of a car as far as the way the ergonomics are, because it does fit your hand so well. But
I like that flat front strap.
Yes, yeah. Without the finger grooves and things on it, but I think also with the small space that you've got, they weren't able to put finger grooves on there because, with my hand style or Terry's hand style, trying to get, what are you going to put, one finger bump on that? It wouldn't make a lot of sense to have any on the front of that. My biggest gripe with the 42 and 43, Glock describes this as a Gen 4. Why don't they have the interchangeable back straps and 3 magazines instead of 2 like all the other Gen 4s?
The only thing Gen 4 with this that I can see is the magazine release. I believe that you can switch that to right or left hand.
You can switch that.
And
the stippling on the grip, as far as the texture on the sides of the
breakdown is the same as any other Glock.
On any other Glock, yeah. The recoil guide assembly, which I believe Terry is going to right there, is
just like any other Gen 4.
Yeah, it just looks like all the Gen 4 series.
It's a double spring assembly.
So when I just can't help but think that, what are they going to do? Bring out a Gen 4, Gen 2? With in the 42 and 43 with interchangeable back straps. I think they missed the mark without, with not having the interchangeable back strap system on the 42 and 43. I was going to purchase a 43, the first one that came into the shop. I had my hands on, I had my money in hand, I was getting ready to take it, and yuck. compared to the ergonomics of this gun to the 43, I didn't like it.
And you wouldn't think there would be that much of a difference between the two.
I just thought that between the two, they really missed the mark. I didn't buy that 43. It just didn't appeal to me at all. After I got it in my hand, I thought, man, this is going to be cool. No. As far as that goes, I'd rather have my car CW9 and the ergonomics of it than I would the 43. Not saying the 43 is not a good gun. I've not had any problems with them. There's been people that have experienced some problems with the 42 and 43 as far as the, and I think it's mainly more towards Glock getting the recoil, springs and so on correct in the guns more than anything. But I've not experienced that personally. I sent one 42 back for someone that bought one from somewhere else. I just happened to send it back for them, and it came back and was golden. It never had a problem again after we sent it back. But really, the backstrap system, like I was saying, they missed the mark by not doing that. If they would have had that on that 43, I probably, because of just being able to customize that grip and bring the grip out to my hand size, I would have bought it.
On the Gen 4s, I prefer the larger beaver tail backstrap, and if they had that on a 43 or even on the 42, I think it would be a lot more enticing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I still want one, but
with the beaver tail on this makes more sense if you were to offer it than it would be on the full size, because I can get my hand up here to where it's close to the track of the slide. So if that's coming back here, I can feel it on this side over here if I really have a high handhold. If I just have it, if I consciously bring my hand down, then I'm clearing it fine. So just like Terry says with using the beaver tail, large beaver tail backstrap on his Gen 4 22, just having the option to do that here would have been nice.
Yeah, and I also have a Gen 4 26, and I use the largest beaver tail backstrap on it as well.
Yeah.
And something else that it helps me with is finger placement on the trigger.
Yeah. Anything that can change the dynamic of that length of pull, the length between the backstrap and the face of the trigger. I can literally, if a trigger was right here on this gun, I could pull the trigger here. If there was something like I will use my thumb.
I have a tendency to actually shoot left with a Glock.
Well, I think that's because of the length of pull issues on some of them. But like I was saying, if I just put my thumb back here and I put my finger here, I'm getting on the trigger where I need to be. I couldn't pull that up here. So if I had something back here that took that space up, that this would be a lot easier for me to use. They've been a great gun. They really have. I've got nothing against it as far as its function or anything like that. It's just, I wish Glock would have offered more. It just seems as if that a company that had such breakthroughs and strides in getting people to use polymer handguns and to use certain types of manufacturing methods in firearms would have recognized the need for that same system that they already had when they manufactured these. Do you think that would be something that you would like if they put that on there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd love the interchangeable back straps. Of course, who wouldn't want an additional magazine?
Yeah.
A third magazine with it. I know that you don't like them. I do. I like magazine extensions. That's something that I would definitely change on this. I would put at least the finger extension on it. Maybe even the plus. I think they got one of the +1 for these.
Yeah. They've got the magazines themselves that have the +1 on them. As far as having just the piece by itself, so I'm not really seeing that yet. But as far as from Glock, Pierce or one of these other manufacturers might have that out there. But one thing, like Terry knows, and you just talked about, I would rather have my little finger, because people say, where do I put my little finger? Well, you're your hand does this, you know, when you make a fist. And if you curl your finger under here, when you have recoil, you bring yourself back to line of sight incredibly quick. With the addition of a little finger rest right here without any kind of a backer here for your grip, most people, not all, most people have a tendency to let them pull the entire front of the gun down, which brings your grouping down. Everyone panics when they don't have a place to put their little finger on a firearm. I don't understand that. You know, it just when you make your fist and your fingers wrap around, you know, they come around, it meets here, and you have all that power in your fist. And when you can't close your fist, you don't have any power. So that's the same ideology I use when I like a grip like this, to where I can finish that grip with my fist, you know, type of a grip. When I have that gun out, I've got more strength in being able to grasp it, but also to bring it back to point of sight too. So take your finger little thingies and stick them up your butt, Terry.
Well, it doesn't really affect me, you know, in the way that you're talking about. And you know, each shooter is going to be different.
That's right. Yeah.
Some people are going to love this gun. Some people are going to hate it. We've both actually shot this one already, and I like it.
Yeah. No, it shoots fine. It shoots fine. I mean, through a little bit of trial and error. Yes. Through a little trial and error, found out that this particular gun shoots. You've got to cover your, what's the 1-inch dots?
Yeah, the
around 1-inch dots.
1-inch dots.
It had to completely
at
cover
about 15 feet.
The 1-inch dot with the front sight. I mean, cover it up to get actually on target with it. You know, as far as point of aim, I shot a really good group, but I shot it low, and as soon as I covered that all the way, it started putting rounds into the target. You know, the little bullseye. So, I mean, the gun, it shoots, but it's just like I said, getting used to this compared to other guns. It's like anything else. Most Glocks that I know of have you shoot them with like a 6 o'clock hold. This one though is directly, I don't know what you'd call that, an all o'clock hold. You got to cover up the clock to shoot this thing.
And whenever we get out there and we do the shooting demonstration with this, I think that you know, I'll probably end up getting one of the extended magazines for it, or at least the finger extension on a magazine for it, just so that we can demonstrate both of those. And you know, we'll get some good footage of shooting it, some slow motion for you guys. Yeah. And yeah, you got anything else to add for this?
Nope. I think we just need to go shooting with it. That's it.
See you guys on the range.
See ya. Hey, we're out at the range today with the Glock 42. We're going to take a few shots apiece and put it on paper and see how it does. Wow. I was shooting a little left, and I've got two right there on that center piece, and one just outside of it, and one off and down. I'd say most of that was just me. I mean, the gun's shooting fine, just getting used to that trigger. That's a little different than what I'm used to with the Car CW380 and a few other little guns. It wasn't too bad. Now we're going to let Terry take a turn.
I'm going to shoot the same target that Jeff shot out here. See how I do. Most of mine seem to have gone a little bit low, and I could feel myself kind of when I would pull the trigger. All right, 6 rounds, same target again. We are definitely tearing up that spot low left.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like all of our shots were at least consistent, though. Yeah, this was at about 5 yards.
Okay, that just wraps up our session with the Glock 42. We both kind of like the gun. Consistently, the trigger is a little different for me, and I think Terry would agree there. We kept it all in an A target, and we didn't have any failures or any stoppages of any kind. It's a good little gun, like all Glocks are. I'd say it's probably ripe for some of the enhancements that are available out there, trigger-wise and so on, and that might make it a little easier to shoot.
Yeah, I think that definitely if the trigger was a little bit lighter, I'd probably do a little better with it.
Yeah, I have to agree.
It's not that we were inaccurate with it. I mean, you can see the target.
Yeah.
It's a pretty small group that we held there, but especially in my opinion for a small pistol like that at 5 yards.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, that's
the Glock 42 is definitely a viable.
Oh, absolutely.
Viable gun in my opinion.
So anybody looking for anything like this, might look into the Glock 42.